get rid of some of the. I guess get rid of some of the laws. There's also a Supreme Court ruling pending, isn't there? I believe.
About same-sex marriage?
No, about Obamacare.
Again? I don't know. I mean, I do know that there's a ruling pending about Alabama, the judge's decision to hold back on sanctioning same-sex marriage. I think instead of worrying about that, we have other pressing problems that really deserve to be taken care of. I mean, the economy is still, it's getting better, you know, I mean.
Very slowly, unfortunately.
It's getting better, you know. The middle class is coming back very slowly, but, you know, the unemployment numbers are about 5.8. Okay, jobs are being created. But there's still that tremendous gap in income earning between the haves and the have-nots.
Also, if you want to take the Republican side, a lot of the jobs are being created are part-time jobs. Full-time jobs, because of Obamacare, mostly are being eliminated.
No, that I don't believe. Okay, I really don't believe that. Republicans are saying that because they'll say and do anything to try to repeal Obamacare or even tweak it. Okay, I don't think that the health care plan is causing people to lose their jobs. Okay, I really don't.
A lot of companies reduce their man hours to 30. Home Depot. I know people that work there. They don't hire full time. Up to 30 hours, no more. People in the air freight industry, 30 hours, no more. Otherwise, because they have more than 50 employees, they'd have to provide health care and pay for half of it. And I mean, I see it. I don't see a lot of companies, but the companies that I do see.
Well, it may be happening, but I don't think it's because of Obamacare. I really do not. Okay? I mean, you know, yes, they're saying that that's the reason, but I don't think that that's the true reason. So many people don't like it, so they'll agree with anything when it comes to,
they're putting on more part-timers. They'll put on, 3 part-timers for 2 full-timers. They're just defining. There's no need for full-timers now. I mean, that's the only big difference in full-timers and part-timers is the health benefits.
Well, all I know is I've seen in Ohio, where my daughter lives, she's a speech pathologist, and she has all the alphabet letters after her name. She's certified to teach speech from K through 12. And they have teaching vacancies, but they're not filling it with regular teachers. They're hiring what they call contract workers. Okay? And this comes right from the governors of every state. And most of these governors, most of them are Republican. There are some that are Democratic. Okay? Now, they're willing to hire these people as contract workers, which means that when they work, they get paid, but they don't pay them any benefits. They can't say they don't enter into a pension plan. They don't get paid for the summer when they're not working. They'll hire somebody like that. But what good is it if there's no job security and no benefits? My daughter could have been working as a teacher for the last 3 to 4 years living in Ohio if she wanted to be a contract worker. But that's not what she wanted.
So what is she doing? 3 part-time jobs?
2 part-time jobs. She works in a a rehab nursing home, okay, with elderly, and she works with early childhood intervention, okay? She goes from one job to the next, and between two jobs, she doesn't even make 40 hours, okay? But she's running back and forth, back and forth. The only way for her to make 40 hours is if she works a sixth day, and she's not healthy enough to do that. Her body can't take it.
And she gets no benefits because of it. Now, I don't know if her husband gets benefits.
He has benefits, but the bottom line is, I mean, they're not the greatest, but they are benefits just the same. You know, but you have a young couple where the American dream is slowly fading for them, you know, their hopes of buying a home, even though, you know, interest rates are still relatively cheap and low, you know, and the price of homes, I mean, this is the first time where you find interest rates are low, and the price of homes is low, you know, but many young people just can't afford it because they don't have the down payment. They don't have the job security. You know, you work as a contract worker. There's no guarantee. Yes, you'll have a job today, but there's no guarantee you'll have a job 6 months from now. And what do you do if you buy a house and then you fall behind in your payments? Through really no fault of your own, except that you can't find another contract job.
Plus, now in New York, it's not if you can afford the price of the house, it's if you can afford the taxes.
Well, that, you know...
That's not everywhere in New York.
I know. That's just, you know, that's why, many people are leaving the big cities, okay, because they can't afford to pay $8,000 to $10,000 to $12,000 a year in taxes, between school tax and everything else,
and then pay a mortgage,
property
on top
tax,
of that,
and then mortgage. Not easy.
Not in New York area, anyway.
You know, you could be making six figures, and by that I mean just barely breaking, let's say, $100,000 in New York. And you're only considered middle class. You know, in comparison to the rest of America, yes, you're doing well, except when you look at the cost of living to live in New York as opposed to living in Troy, Ohio. Okay? Cost of living is much less. You know, the only people who really do well is if you have, let's say, a government job where no matter where you work, you're making the same money, and instead of doing your government job in New York, you do it in Dubuque, Montana, okay, or Bismarck, North Dakota, where the cost of living is less.
A few years ago, or quite a few years ago, I was working for an airline. I'm not going to mention names. It doesn't matter. And they offered to transfer me to Miami because my position was being eliminated in New York. And it may have been even a slight promotion in the title. But there was a pay cut involved because my pay was based on New York. And go down to Florida, the cost of living was less, so they cut your pay.
Except that Miami is an expensive city to live in.
It's still not as expensive as New York. And I looked at it, and I looked at the pay cut, and I said, it's just not worth it. I'm not going to be any better off, and I'm going to be without family. I'm not going to be familiar with the people. And so I decided to leave that industry. But again, though, I think you don't see it as much as I do, but the Obamacare is definitely keeping a lot of people from hiring full-time people. Because I see it in the airport where a lot of the companies, a lot of them are small, so it doesn't matter. They don't offer anything at all. But the companies that are just coming up to 50, 60 employees, they're not hiring full-timers. They can't afford to start paying for the medical.
Well, I don't know. Do they still have do airline employees still have the benefit of travel?
Sure.
They still do. So in other words, they're only paying tax in order to fly.
Well, it's not as simple as that. Yeah, but it's a reduced. It's reduced nicely. You know, people used to say tax. It's a service fee. Tax.
Or fly standby usually.
It's all standby.
It's all standby.
Yeah. They're not going to give up a full revenue seat to somebody who's just paying, a quarter of the price.
Well, I don't know. I would share my seat with a good-looking woman if it arose.
Yeah, but it will affect the weight and balance of the airplane. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the witching hour.
Yes, we've actually managed to stretch it to an hour. Maybe we should put on a song before we say goodnight.
Well, what would we like to hear?
I don't know. No, I have an idea. We could. It's not election time, but we're talking about Republicans and challenging each other for the nomination, and how about power to the people?
If I could play it, if I could find it, I'd be fine.
And maybe after that we'll play Roadkill Blues because we all feel like roadkill at some point. Yeah, and then we'll just say goodnight.
For some reason, I'm having a little trouble finding my songs. I've lost the whole screen. Oh, let's go see here. I don't know. We got a Roadkill Blues. We've got one of our fans calling in, but they're calling in on the wrong number. Yeah, so let's see what's going on. Mark, take over, Mark, for a second.
Sure.
What's up?
The doc. No, I'm the doc. Excuse me. Yeah. Felix is on a private call right now. We
for who?
Are getting ready to sign off. Play a song or two for you. The show for Friday is still very much up in the air, but like I said, we're hoping to get in touch with Chad in the middle of the week, and we will run it past him and see if he'd be willing to come on Friday, and maybe when we have our religious shows on Fridays, give him a chance to, have some input as to what we discuss on Friday.
All right, let us call you after the show.
We found him, Felix and I found him to be a gentleman.
Bye, good luck.
A gentleman, and, we're hoping that if he doesn't have a show of his own, that he might want to come on with us on Fridays and become part of a regular team, maybe.
Not necessarily every Friday, but once in a while.
But I don't see him calling up on a Monday when we do news and politics.
Nah.
But
unless there's something about him we don't know, because we really haven't had a chance to talk to him.
No, and that's hopefully what we're going to be doing during the week. Middle of the week, we'd like to call him up and get to know him, let him get to know us, and see if there's a meeting of the minds here, Yeah,
well, I hope there is no meeting of the minds. It's more fun that way.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way, to be more, tolerant, All
right, I'm going to put on a song that we haven't played in gosh knows how long. All right, here we go. Listen, Mark, enjoy.
Enjoy? I don't hear anything.
I know.
There's a raccoon on my shoulder, ain't going anywhere. There's a possum